Coming up, the British political system has been awash with foreign cash for some time now, eroding the very core of any democracy we once had. The Conservative Friends of Russia, for example, later renamed as the Westminster Russia Forum, channelled millions of oligarch money to the Tories under Boris Johnson. The Labour Friends of Israel is another example of a powerful lobbying group with opaque funding, promoting the state of Israel within British politics. And the latest affront? Elon Musk, my least favourite billionaire tech mogul amongst a crowded field, is reportedly gifting a staggering £78 million into Nigel Farage's Reform UK Party Limited. That figure dwarfs even the Russian oligarch's paltry few million donation to the Johnson government. This isn't really a gift in any case, it's a hostile takeover of the British political system. Stay tuned. Elon Musk, Space Karen Apartheid Clyde, has been incessantly trolling our Labour government for months now, crapping out uninformed and misinformed commentary through tweets on his social media platform X, which are of course peddled, promoted and amplified by the algorithms designed by Musk and his team to swamp the platform, and in the process skewing the whole playing field for politics, not just in Britain but globally. Through these digital brain farts, Musk has accused Prime Minister Keir Starmer of eroding free speech and presiding over a tyrannical police state. This was his revenge for the democratically elected Starmer having the audacity to suggest that perhaps some limits should be imposed on the total freedom of social media sites such as X to peddle misinformation, disinformation and hate speech. I mean, who does Keir Starmer think he is? The elected leader of a liberal democracy or something? But now, the fascistic, far-right-leaning Musk is putting his money where his mouth is, aligning with Nigel Farage and his latest Ponzi scheme, Reform Party UK Limited, to disrupt the UK's political landscape. The implications of this potential donation are profound. If it does indeed go ahead, and as I record this video it seems very probable, it would be the largest single political contribution in British history, eclipsing the previous record of £10 million. And what does Musk think he's buying with that donation? An influx of cash of that magnitude is about buying influence, whilst destroying any semblance of democracy that British politics may still retain. The Americanization of British politics, where money is king. And look, I'm not naive, I realise this is nothing new. The issue is not just about Musk or even Farage. It's about a system that allows billionaires, whether foreign or domestic, Russian or Israeli, unions or corporations, to wield disproportionate power over our politics. Currently, there are no caps on political donations in the UK, apart from the period leading up to an election. Any individual with the right to vote or any UK registered company can funnel unlimited funds into political parties. This open door policy has turned our 21st century democracy into a playground for the super rich. Researching for this video, I was astonished to learn that last year, 2023, 2/3 of political donations came from just 19 donors, each contributing over £1 million. And this concentration of financial power means that political parties are more beholden to a handful of wealthy individuals than to the electorate they're supposed to be serving. It's a perversion of democratic principles where money talks louder than the voices of voters. And what's really getting to me right now is that the Labour Party's 2024 manifesto acknowledged this glaring issue, pledging to protect democracy by strengthening the rules around donations to political parties, aiming to tighten protections against foreign interference in UK democracy. I mean, that all sounds fantastic, but just a few short months later, here we have Starmer and his government now saying that they won't try to obstruct that $100 million gift from the foreigner, Musk. According to the Observer newspaper, the government fears that any moves to curb any potential cash from Space Karen could backfire and play into the Reform UK Party Limited's hands, which is on brand for this pathetic Labour government so far, lacking the courage to do anything radical. I'll tell you what is playing into Reform Party UK Limited's hands, allowing a foreign donation of $100 million to fund their far-right racist pollution of the UK political landscape. Yeah, great decision, Labour. We need an immediate and comprehensive reform of political funding in the UK, and that includes banning corporate donations altogether and imposing strict caps on contributions from private individuals. Your right-wing think tanks in Tufton Street can often be seen on mainstream media arguing that existing spending limits during election periods are sufficient to curb the influence of money in politics. This is, of course, utter bollocks. Not only did Rishi Sunak's Tories oversee a massive increase in limits on election spending during the so-called regulated period before an election, but campaigning isn't confined to just a few weeks before an election. These days, it's a constant, relentless endeavour through social media. Parties can spend unlimited amounts outside official campaign periods, rendering spending limits ineffective. Here's the Electoral Commission rules on spending during the regulated period. You might think, so Reform Party UK Limited would only be allowed to spend roughly 2% of Musk's donation on an election. But you'd be wrong. First, they could spend it before the regulated period of the official election campaign, and secondly, loopholes abound. Spending on staff by national parties doesn't count towards limits, and certain expenditures by non-party organisations are also exempt. Even media outlets like GBB News and Talk TV, they can engage in partisan campaigning under the guise of journalism, further muddying the waters. And enforcement is another weak link. Thanks to successive Tory governments, the Electoral Commission's powers have largely been destroyed and are now woefully inadequate, with penalties that amount to no more than a slap on the wrist for wealthy donors and parties. Space Karen Elon Musk will just laugh and pay the Commission's maximum fine of £20,000, which represents a mere 0.05% of the sum he's paying to buy British democracy. Additionally, the Commission lacks robust investigatory powers, especially concerning activities outside the UK. All of these powers stripped by the previous Tory governments, for reasons I think we can all figure out for ourselves. The consequences of this system, deliberately broken by the Tories, are dire. Political parties, instead of engaging with a broad base of grassroots supporters, focus their fundraising efforts on a select group of wealthy donors. This has not only skewed policy decisions in favour of the rich in Britain, but it's also alienated ordinary voters, fostering the current climate amongst the British electorate of they're all the same, leading to what we see at the end of 2024, disillusionment and disengagement from the political process by millions of voters. So let's try and put a rocket up the arse of this turgid Labour government. So Keir Starmer, listen, it's time to reclaim our democracy. You must immediately legislate to put stringent caps on political donations, re-empower the Electoral Commission, and implement robust enforcement mechanisms. Oh, and also stick a ban on corporate and, yes, union contributions. Introduce reasonable public funding of political parties, as seen in other successful democracies. The integrity of our political system is at stake. We can't allow billionaires, whether they're the homegrown Dysons and Ratcliffes or the foreign oligarchs and Silicon Valley man-babies, we can't allow these people to buy power within British democracy any longer. The UK's political future should be determined by the true will of its people, not one manipulated by massive sums invested by the wealthy clients of Cambridge Analytica, like with Brexit. Money shouldn't have the power to influence governments to cater to the whims and self-interest of the ultra-wealthy, however many millions these oligarchs and multinational corporations would like to proffer. The Labour Party's manifesto commitment to limiting donations is a start, but we must see it implemented immediately, slam the door in Musk's face, and then we must go even further to ensure that we put an end to the corrosive influence of big money in British politics through state funding of political parties, and no state funding for privately limited for-profit companies masquerading as political parties.